Hi everyone, my name is Andy Barrow and I'm one of the AIP program's athlete appearance liaisons. What I'm doing today is making a series of training videos, so apologies in advance for the kind of rough cut and the editing. These are just for training. This video is going to be talking all about audience differentiation, so it will feature 3 clips that weren't shot today, they were shot at a different time. I'll introduce each of them and explain how you can really make a story accessible to lots of different audience types just by telling it in a slightly different way, using different language and obviously using a different tone. So the next clip, the first clip, is a story that I use, but it has been prepared specifically for a disengaged audience of 16 to 19-year-olds. So here it is right now. I'm going to tell you now about a conversation that changed my life forever. This is the story of the diminishing yeses. A few days after I'd broken my neck, I was laying in my hospital bed and a nurse came to see me. He said, "Andy, I've heard you've been talking about making a full recovery and walking out of this hospital." I said, "Yes." He said, "I've heard that you've said the doctors have told you there might be a slim chance of you making that full recovery." I said, "Yes." He said, "Andy, you need to understand something. When the doctors say that, they're really just covering themselves." He said, "There's no chance you're going to make a full recovery. In fact, there's no chance that you're even going to make a partial recovery. You're not going to walk out of this hospital. You're not going to walk again. In fact, you're never going to walk again. Do you understand?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yes." And he left. And I cried. And that was the worst moment of my life. But it was also one of the most important moments because it made me understand that no matter how many tears I cried, the past wasn't going to change. I wasn't going to magically get up out of that bed and walk out of that hospital. It made me understand that while I could not change the past, I could change everything from this moment on and how I reacted to the past. And it really hammered home to me the idea that your attitude is how you approach something, and having a positive attitude was really the only way forward if I was going to do everything that I wanted to do in my life. Okay, so that was the first version of my story, designed to be delivered to a group of 16 to 19-year-olds who were quite disengaged and may not necessarily have wanted to be there. This next version of the story is designed for a multiple ability audience, so an audience of students from an inclusive school maybe, who probably have had a few different challenges in their lives as well. So I hope you can see the difference in the tone. I'm going to tell you now about a conversation that changed my life forever. It was one of the toughest moments of my life, but it was one of the most important. About a week after I'd broken my neck, a nurse came to my bedside in hospital, and he had a really important conversation with me. He said, "Andy, I've heard that you've been talking about making a full recovery." And I said, "Yes." He said, "I've heard that the doctors are saying that you may well walk out of here, or there's a slim chance at least you may walk out of here." I said, "Yes." He said, "Andy, I've got some bad news for you. I need to tell you that when the doctors say that, they don't really mean it. They're just covering themselves. He said, there's not a high chance you're going to walk out of here again. In fact, there probably isn't much chance at all of that. You're not going to make a full recovery. You're not going to make, anything like that. In fact, you're not going to walk again. I have to tell you that. You're never going to walk again, Andy. Do you understand?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." and he left, and that was really, really, really tough moment for me. But it made me understand exactly where I was. It made me understand that no matter how sad I was about that, and it was a sad time for me, but no matter how sad I was, that wasn't going to change the past. The only thing I could take control of at this point was what was happening right in front of my eyes at that very moment. And in the future, the only thing I could control was how I reacted to that bad situation in my life. And it taught me about the importance of having a positive attitude and approaching every situation in my life positively, in order that I'd be able to do all the things that I'd wanted to do previously. And I didn't know exactly what they were. I just knew I didn't want any more doors to shut, and a positive attitude really was key to that. So just to cover off the two clips I've sent over, the first one is for a group of 16 to 19 year olds, possibly disengaged, and you can tell by the whole tone that I've decided to make this story quite somber and use the power of the story to really hold the audience. There's a lot more pulls in it. There's a lot more pulls for effect. There's a lot of me wanting the emotion to really hit the audience hard with a sledgehammer in order to keep them engaged and make them really understand the message that I'm trying to get across. So it's a far more deliberate way of sort of controlling that audience. Very hard for them to sort of look at me and be like, oh, I'm not really bothered about this, because I'm really kind of like almost burying my soul to them there. So, that's quite a strong message. Now, with the next group, that's a group of inclusive multi-sport students who will undoubtedly have had, maybe, quite a bit of sort of disability-based adversity in their lives anyway. So the whole tone is far lighter. I don't want to upset anyone with this story, whereas perhaps the first group, I didn't want to upset people, I maybe wanted to shock them. So this is the idea of keeping it light from the outset, just letting them know that it's not a complete disaster here. This story does have a positive ending, because I'm responsible for that audience's feelings with the story that I'm giving across. The whole tone is a little bit lighter. I don't leave the pauses as long, so it's not going to have such a harsh effect on them. So it's really keeping it much lighter and almost more conversational by the way I'm describing it. So for me, those are the main differences. I would say the inclusive group, I go at a bit faster pace just to keep stuff moving a bit more, whereas when I really want to pin the audience with the previous clips, so it's just a lot more deliberate. And aside of that, I'm going to leave you to draw your own conclusions about the way that I tell the same story in very different ways, just by not even using too much body language, to be honest, because I've just sat here on a headshot in front of a screen for you. So it just shows how much you can kind of nuance your message with the tone that you decide to set.